You're listening to the Fantasy Fling Podcast. Take a break from the season-long commitment and join us for a Friday fling as we give you the newest and hottest DFS deals, preview the DFS main slate, and take the dreadful walk of shame. Here are your hosts, Brandon and Eric.
We got Paul here too. Week 7.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Making a Milli. Eric, glad to have you back.
I am glad. That'll happen. 60% of the time that happens every time, baby. Every time. I'm glad to be back. Thank you. And I apologize for my absence. I had some work duties I had to attend to, so no excuse, but what it is. What it is. I'm happy to be back.
That's all right, baby. We are here. We're talking week 7 of the Milli Maker on DraftKings. And Paul, you didn't play last week, but the week before you made some money. I won money last week. And we're going to see who won all the money last week, the Milli. Week 6 of the Milli Maker. So I wrote this on fantasyfootballfling.com. Be sure to check this out because every single week I look at the Milli Maker winner and I identify trends for you. So week 5 was a chalk smash. The highest Milli Maker roster percentage we had seen was like 115%. But week 6 was a return to normalcy. Chalk did not smash, and the contrarians felt they knew the order was restored. Roster percentage was back below 100%, as it had been in the prior month of the season. And we saw the early trends of the season continue on despite the week 5 outlier. So let's take a look. We have Bold Nasty. You got a little nasty for us week 6 with this Baker Mayfield, Donovan Peoples-Jones stack that came in at like under 2.5% ownership. Just nuts. Baker Mayfield, 15 points. And then the second stack of that game was Jonathan Taylor and the Colts D. So you basically had 2 stacks. Yeah, your boy. Dude. Jonathan Taylor, truther. We got Mayfield, Donovan Peoples-Jones. That stack combined for about 45 points. And then we had Jonathan Taylor, 31 points, and the Colts D. So about 46 points between those 2 stacks. And then it really was a story of one-offs. Mixon, we talked about him on the Fantasy Fling podcast, 26 points. CeeDee Lamb, 39 points.
Overtime helped that.
32 points, yeah. And then Noah Fant, garbage time, baby. 24 points.
Hey, bunch of points. Garbage time, overtime, don't matter.
Points. First time we saw a tight end in the flex this year. Noah Fant and Travis Kelce. Who would have thought if you put those 2 up, Noah Fant would have scored the most points, so 24 points. Yeah, and then the Colts C, as we talked about. So stacking, we have seen a lot of skinny stacks taking down big GPPs this year. Sometimes it's really just taking small pieces of 1 to 2 games and then relying on those naked studs to carry you up the leaderboards as they burst into the end zone. Quite a visual, right? Well, it was one of the most
naked studs bursting up my ends. What?
What? Some things you cannot see, bro.
Phrasing.
But yeah, this was, I will say, this one of the most improbable stacks on the slate was used to get leverage on the field and take down the Milli Maker when Baker and Donovan Peoples-Jones were stacked together in that game. In hindsight, with no Chubb and a banged up, chalky Kareem Hunt, this was a perfect leverage play on the field. So you had Baker 15 points, Donovan Peoples-Jones 29 points, a total of 44 points with an average per player of 22. By fantasy points per dollar, you got 5.43x. So pretty good. And then that second stack with Taylor, the Colts, total 46, average 23, fantasy points per dollar 4.54x. Roster percentage, this lineup was really good. Mayfield 1.7%, Taylor Jonathan Taylor was the chalkiest stack at 25, or chalkiest player in the entire lineup at 25%. Mixon 15%. Lamb crushed. I can't believe Lamb was only 5% roster percentage. He crushed it.
He had two
Yeah. Well, I really feel like he's overtaken Amari Cooper as the best wide receiver in that offense. That's debatable, but
to me, there's no debate. That's not debatable to me at all. I think he may be the best receiver in the NFL. He's close to the top. I mean, that's a big statement to say, but he's really good.
Sure. And this is coming from a Raiders fan who loved Amari Cooper. So that's a full endorsement there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, I can't tell you the last time I've seen a guy at under 1% ownership end up in a big lineup, big winning lineup like this. Crazy. Thielen, 5%, Fant, 2%, Kelsey, almost 22%, and then Colts D at 14%. So this total ownership was 93%, which more or less what we've seen this year, apart from the big jump in week 5, the chalk smash with 115% total ownership. This continues to stay below 95%. We've seen weeks of 78%, 77, 87, 88, and now 93. So the moving average on the season is 89%. More or less, when you take down the Milli maker, if your lineup is just like crazy high projected ownership, then just throw it away. It's not going to matter. As far as leverage, by using Mayfield and Donovan Peoples-Jones in a stack, this lineup, it got direct leverage off of Kareem Hunt. He was over 32% roster percentage. Mayfield and DPJ combined for only 2.5. And then furthermore, Lamb, Thielen, and Fant were great pivots off of some of the chalkier plays in the Kansas City Washington football team and Chargers and Ravens games with guys like Hill, Andrews, and Ricky Seals-Jones. They're much chalkier options. Pricing, we have definitely seen some trends. So overall, this lineup was 50,000 with 4.85x. But week 5, we did see the chalk smash. So when you have guys like Henry, that's obviously going to raise the price of everything. But week 6 was a return to early season trends we've seen in regards to pricing. QB saw its second lowest pricing on the season with only 5,900, down from 7,400 the week before. Moving average is now at 6,600, with only 2 running backs priced in the mid 6K range. This kept the average running back price in the low 6K range on the season, falling from a 60-50 wide receiver pricing average in week 5. We did see the moving average of this week mirror what we've seen in weeks 1 through 4. Weeks 1 through 4, the average wide receiver pricing was 57.45. Weeks 1 through 6, this average is 57.16. And week 6 was the first time this season that we've seen 2 tight ends in the Milli maker, as I mentioned earlier. Judging from the amount of flex tight ends I saw in DFS Army's optimals last week, I really wasn't surprised. Once again, DFS Army is legit. I mean, you can only win $1 million. So if you want to sign up, do your thing. Maybe sign up if you want to win $1 million. Use code FANTASYFLING for 10% off a VIP subscription. So if you want to save a few bucks on your way to winning $1 million, use our 10%. Promo code. But if not, don't use it. I don't care. Do whatever you want with the millies. You can fucking go to McDonald's and buy a bunch of chicken nuggets and throw $200 out the window because you can get down like that.
Yeah.
Because you're that rich.
Fuck you money.
Yeah. Boy, I got fuck you money now. What's up? I'll say I really thought Kelsey would be in line for a big day. I was pretty surprised that Fant outproduced him in the same lineup, and he crushed his value at 5.5. But the average price of the tight end continues to drop because it's volatile, which is why it's really hard to pay up for tight ends most week. You have Kelsey position. And Waller. Yeah, they're not really hitting their ceiling. And again, we've seen defenses pay up for defenses The average is $3,100. The Colts were the defense last week, and they 4.28x on their salary. And I actually told you to start them last week, and I didn't take my own advice, so that's how that goes.
It happens.
But ceiling-wise, honestly, this lineup, it scored 231 points, but the ceiling of this lineup with guys like Mayfield, well, not really Mayfield so much, but he does have a 30-point ceiling. But Jonathan Taylor, Mixon, and CeeDee Lamb, the three of these guys average over 35 to 40 points a game. And, Thielen, kind of the same thing. His ceiling is 30 to 45. Kelsey's 35. So this team has a ceiling of well over 250, which is plenty to win the Milli. And these are things that we need to consider every week as we build our lineups. So looking into week 7, I'm going to start it out because I did pretty well in the Milli last week. I won $30. I had, my stacks didn't go off the way I wanted them to, but I had Dak Prescott stacked with CeeDee Lamb. I mean, that stack crushed it. But here's the thing. I brought it back with Jacoby Myers. He had a touchdown called back. So this lineup would have been that much better this past week had that touchdown not called back.
Have you seen so just to interject on that, just a short thing. Have you seen the thing that he has going for him? It's like the longest in NFL history of most yards in games without a touchdown. Kobe Myers.
Stupid. It's
ridiculous,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, and we call that positive regression. It
should be.
I mean, it's just stupid. He should have had that touchdown last week, but. Anyways, moving on. I was big on Dalvin Cook. Like I said, I mentioned it last week on the Fantasy Fling podcast. When you get a stud like Dalvin Cook coming off an injury, he had an extra week to heal, and he's coming in a low percent ownership. That's when you play that guy. He got me 25 points, which, based on his pricing, wasn't near value, but, that's not bad either. 25 points. Antonio Gibson was trying to get pieces of a great game environment. He got hurt, only 5 points. He pretty much killed this lineup. But regardless, Myers, again, touchdown callback. Keenan Allen, only 10 points. A great game environment, but the Chargers just not show up to play. So, 10 points not going to do it. But Andrews, 17 points. He did pretty good. And then Ricky Seals-Jones, 15 points. And Lindsey, 3 points. So, overall, this lineup is pretty good. I got 159, almost 160 points at $130. I will take that. I got the top spot in the Milli this week for our little throwing down of the gauntlet, so I don't got to roll the dice. I'm just going to pick my lineups. Eric, Paul, I will let you guys roll. So, Paul, you're second. Eric, you're third. And I'll let you guys roll and then start building your lineups, and then I'm going to get into mine. So let's roll. Let's do this.
Did you pick yours? Did you pick yours already? Who'd you pick?
So I'm number one. So I got the top one. Tennessee and Kansas City.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure in case I roll the one. I figured you chose that.
Yeah, buddy.
Shit. Would you roll, Paul?
That's a 1. I rolled a 6 and a 1.
Unreal.
A 1.
Unreal. No.
A 1.
Nope. Nope. Fucking weighted die.
6. Wow,
that's wrong.
1.
They stole that from Ocean's 11.
All right, I got a 2.
So you get you son of a bitch.
All right, I can do that.
Fuck. Oh shit! I dropped it on the ground. Oh, it was a 2, which I wanted. This one's a 6. And a 5. So I get the Hotland of Miami stack.
Okay.
All right. I can work with that.
All right. So I'm numero uno this week. So I went over to DFS Army and I started putting in stacks. Some of the guys I like this week, some of the stacks I like, some of the studs, some of the sleepers. So when I ran into the optimizer, one of the lineups that I got out that I like the most in regards to stacks, in regards to total roster percentage, in regard to total ceiling, trying to target the right game environments, also trying to target the right studs as one-offs. I got a couple different game stacks, so 2 of the more higher ones on the slate. Total roster percentage, about 100%. I can go for that. I got Matt Stafford as my quarterback, stacked with Darrell Henderson in that game. Darrell Henderson, typically, you don't always want to stack your quarterback with the running back, but if it's the right game environment, it can definitely be done. Certainly seen the right stacks in GPPs with, for example, Tannehill and Derrick Henry, as well as A.J. Brown, and so on and so forth. So you got Stafford and Darrell Henderson. He can take passes out of the backfield. He has not had under double-digit points this season. So Stafford going against his old team, really like that. And also, as a bring back option, Deandre Swift. Now, normally you would not want to have 2 running backs on the same game in a stack. However, these backs, specifically Swift, they get a lot of target share. So it's okay in this situation, especially in the Milli. Got to get a little silly sometimes. So Stafford, Darrell Henderson, bringing it back with Swift. That is my stack. Now, that's one of my stacks. The main stack that I was targeting was the Tennessee Titans game and with the Chiefs. So that game, 57.5, 58 points, depending on the sportsbook you're looking at. A.J. Brown is the direct leverage off of Henry, who is going to continue to be the chalk. Now, A.J. Brown, he's got some Chipotle issues. I've never had food poisoning with Chipotle. I've had Chipotle, I don't know, a couple thousand times. I also live in Colorado, where Chipotle was born. I don't know what that means compared to Chipotle across the country. I can say the Chipotle I've had here is fresh. I've never, knock on wood, I've never had food poisoning from Chipotle. AJ Brown, can't say the same. He's had food poisoning for a while. So hopefully he plays. If he plays, I'm expecting a big game. No Julio Jones. Regardless, even if he doesn't have a big game, process-wise, he's the right play because Henry's a chalk, and this is a high-scoring game. This is how you get leverage. So I like him. And then Miko Harmon, 4,300. Same thing. He's never going to be chalk because you have Tyreek Hill and you have Kelsey. They're always going to be the chalk. And Miko Harmon, I watched the game last week. I mean, he was an ankle tackle away from a big day. So he caught a ball deep, almost busted a tackle for a touchdown, and he would smash at his salary at like 4,300. So these are two guys. Jacoby Myers, we talked about it. He's getting a very high target percentage in that offense. He is certainly the main guy, and we said last week a touchdown callback. It could have been in line for a much bigger day. So I like him as a one-off. And then Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz is out. He's been traded. So I like Goddard to get all the targets at 4,600. And then we got Calvin Ridley. We talked about on the Fantasy Fling podcast. He is back. He had family issues, but he is seeing a lot of targets. I think about 12 a game since week 2. So he's my guy. Then that Cardinals D. They've been in the Milli Maker winning lineup twice. So they're $3,100. The average price of defenses in the Milli Maker lineup is about $3,000. I really like them. And then we talked about wide receiver pricing. I believe it has been in about the 5,700 range. And what we have this week, we got Miko Harmon at 4,300, Jacoby Myers at 5,300. So we got 4,300 plus 5,300 plus A.J. Brown at 6,300, plus Ridley at 6,600. So we're looking at about 5,600. As far as pricing, average-wise, overall ceiling with guys like Stafford, Swift, Henderson, A.J. Brown, Goddard, Ridley, and the Cardinals, I like everything about this lineup, from a roster percentage, from a ceiling, from pricing. This is kind of lineup we've seen take down the Milli Maker. So I'm into it. This is what I'm rolling with this week.
All right, man.
That's for me.
Looking good. That was a good explanation on everything.
Appreciate you. What you guys got for me?
This is my
I think
drinking
go
for
ahead,
Milli. Let's get it started. I got the Rams Lions stack. Going with Stafford.
Okay.
Stafford Swift. Hoping Swift's got to continue coming from behind.
Other running back
Patterson.
Wait. You said Stafford and Swift?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have Stafford, Swift, and Woods.
Okay, you left out the Woods part. Okay.
That's important. Okay, my bad.
Okay.
They're both in that game. But yeah. My other running backs going to be Patterson, Devontae Adams. That's my big spender for this week. Rashard Bateman, Darnell Mooney. I'm going to go with Zach Ertz and the Arizona defense this week. Going up against Houston. I know he's brand new into that system, but for $3,900, let's do it.
So you got Bateman. You got Bateman and Mooney and Zach Ertz.
Yep.
Okay.
But then Devontae Adams, Matthew Stafford, Swift, Patterson, and the Arizona defense.
Okay. All right.
Real silly.
Stafford. All right. Yeah. He's a good.
I don't
like that. It's interesting.
I don't hate it, but I don't know the ceiling with Bateman and Ertz and who is the other guy, and Mooney.
This is where it's coming.
That's a big tell. That's a big tell. Big ask, rather.
Big brain stuff going on.
Eric,
oh man,
what do you got for me?
Yeah. Well, I rolled the 5, which gives me the Atlanta-Miami stack, and I know the quarterback of Matt Ryan isn't the best, but he can have a ceiling of maybe 30 points. He's done it.
Yeah.
But I went with the guy we talked about on the podcast earlier, the Fantasy Fling podcast. I went with Ridley, and also the Patterson stack because I've seen so Matt Ryan, Cordell Patterson, and Ridley. As far as my stack with Atlanta, those guys all, I'm not sure if they'll have a good game together, but that's the hope. Those are the 3 players. If they have big games, those are the 3 that probably will.
Yeah.
So yeah, Matt Ryan, Patterson, and Ridley. I really like Ridley this week a lot. I'm really high on him. To fill in the other parts, I have J.D. McKissick as my running back, was also someone we talked about on the podcast. He's only $5K, and I don't know. I feel like they're gonna play from behind, and who knows what's going on with Gibson's shins. I know you liked him a lot as well. You kind of convinced me, so that's partly credit to you. As McKissick as my other running back, and then for my receivers, I have Hardman and A.J. Brown. So I have Ridley, Hardman, A.J. Brown. And then my flex was Devonta Smith. And I chose Devonta Smith because the Raiders' secondary is so depleted. It's like everyone's hurt, man. Mm-hmm. I follow the Raiders pretty close. That's my team. Their secondary is bad. It's banged up. They're not in good place. So I have Devonta Smith is kind of a contrarian play. Maybe he's pretty. I haven't checked his ownership percentage. I'm pretty sure it's pretty low. And then for my tight end, Darren Waller, and the defense is the Patriots against the Jets. I feel like the Jets, man, they give up the most points to defenses. The Cardinals, I know, are a great play too. I went the Patriots. So it was I feel like they're gonna just crush that rookie quarterback. Belichick has a pretty good, although Davis Mills kind of was the outlier or whatever, but Belichick has a pretty good record and known for just crushing rookie quarterbacks.
Sure.
So, for the
No
Patriots
doubt about
team.
it.
So again, just to cap that, Ryan, Ridley, Patterson is a stack, and then J.D. McKissick, Hardman, A.J. Brown, Darren Waller, Devonta Smith, and the Patriots.
I like it. Paul, you got a stack? Stud and a sleeper you like?
For this week?
Mm-hmm.
Sleeper? I'd like to say Rashad Bateman. I believe he had a 22% target share last week. That's going to be my sleeper for this week. I think he's going to take over the Sammy Watkins position.
Okay. I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. So, couple stacks I like. I mentioned earlier, I do like Tannehill to A.J. Brown. If you do the Tannehill to A.J. Brown side, you can bring it back with Kelsey or Tyreek Hill. I like that. Also, I like Stafford with Kupp for sure. We could do even like a cheaper stack like Stafford to Higbee. Bring back a Swift. I like those options. Those are probably my two biggest stacks. If you're going a little on the cheaper side, you do like a Matt Ryan and Ridley, bring it back with Waddle. So those would be a few of, you have a stack, you have an expensive stack, you have a mid, and then kind of a lower stack. As far as studs, I really like one of the guys not getting a lot of, I guess, airtime would be Aaron Jones at 7,500. He's coming in at pretty low roster percentage from what I saw earlier. I believe I saw 7%. Quite low. I like him. As far as running backs, it's probably going to do it for me. You can go back to the well a little bit for me anyways with Joe Mixon. I don't hate him. Cordero Patterson is really not getting a lot of percentage, roster percentage, so he can kind of be, I don't know, I guess you could say stud at this point. Is he really a sleeper? 6,300. It's probably my guy, as far as studs go, like one-offs. At running back, wide receiver. So Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, these guys are going to be chalk. So Terry McLaurin, 5% roster percentage. Whether he's stacked or just as a one-off, it might be difficult to stack him with Adams. What is a one-off? He can do well. 6,900. Calvin Ridley, we talked about him. I like him. 6,600. We talked about A.J. Brown. I like him. He could be a one-off if you don't stack him. And then Robbie Anderson, 4,800. No Terrace Marshall this week. He's coming in under 6% projected ownership. I like him. Mooney. Maybe I'll say Mooney for my sleeper. I like Mooney. We'll go to sleepers. 4,600. 6% ownership. Not bad. Philly, Quez Watkins, 3,900, and Rashad Bateman. Those would be a couple of my sleepers. Rashad Bateman, 3,400. He got 25 target percentage last week. So he was highly drafted, and week one into the lineup for Rashad Bateman because he was out. He got 25% target share, so I will take that. Studs. Go back to, I guess, studs for the tight end position. I like Waller. If some of the guys on the outside are going to get the Darius Slay treatment, I certainly like Waller, 6,700 to get a lot of targets. Kyle Pitts, a little bit of recency bias. The first time he blew up was off the main slate. So 5,900, I can go for that. And then if you are looking for a sleeper at tight end, Cole Kmet, stone cold, almost minimum, 3,000. I'm all about it.
I like the Cole Kmet, man. I agree with you on that. The tight end. I think he's a great sleeper. He could put up some points this week.
Yeah.
Agreed. He seems like his usage is it's kind of like trending in the right direction. The way it's going. I like it, man. I guess I'll round it out. You mentioned a lot of the same stacks that I like. I really like the one. I guess the one of the ones you didn't mention that I like. I really like Rodgers and Adams. Rodgers is not as quite high owned as others, but he's a guy that could put up a 4 or 5 touchdown game. We've seen it every year. He does it at some point.
He will own you.
Yeah, he will effing own you. He owns so. Rodgers, Adams is the other stack that I like that hasn't really been talked about much. The other ones that you guys all mentioned, I like.
Just check.
As far as some studs, man, I agree on Mclaurin. He had like 2 touchdowns last week that were just, man, they were like a foot away. It would have been a great week, and he would have been ranked higher, different category. I really like that call as well. As far as the other, receiver studs, DJ Moore, I think he's in line for a big game. He's kind of had 2 down games. He looks like he's in line for a good game against the Giants. We have a pretty bad defense. As far as some sleepers go, man, some guys that have great matchups, but are talented players. Jamar Chase, Henry Ruggs, Devonta Smith. They're all kind of similar players, but all 3 of those guys I kind of like. They could be sleepers, in my opinion, this week. They don't. They're all pretty inexpensive, and they all kind of have okay matchups. They're not greatest, but like them as sleepers. And then for running back sleepers, also Christian Kirk. I like him as a sleeper as well, because any given week he can put up points and have a great matchup this week. And then I mentioned this on the Fantasy Fling podcast, but like the deepest running back sleeper I have, and it may, like I said, he could put up 2 points or he could put up many, is Myles Gaskin.
Yes.
He had that 10 reception week, and in DK where you get a full point PPR, that's a lot. Myles Gaskin is 5,300. I mean, if you want to take a shot at the moon, that's my sleeper.
Digging it. I like it. Well, that's going to do it for Making a Milli Week 7. We'll be back next week. We'll break it all down. The gauntlet between 3 of us, see who won it all, and then, one of us going to win that Milli eventually.
Yeah, man. It's going to come. It's going to get better every week.
I'm not ending the show until we do it.
Yeah. You guys have to keep listening to us until we win $1 million. So just send us $1 million or let us win it.
You know damn well as soon as we win that, I'll be cocky as ever.
Oh, yeah. Faded and X-rated.
All right, well, we'll be back for week 8 to preview that Milli Maker and break down the week 7 trends and how we did. So
all right.
Catch us next week. We went live this week, first time on YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. We are also, if you just want to listen on to your podcast, I'm kind of like that. I don't really always have time to dive in live, but so I'll listen later. We are on Spotify, we are on Apple, and then as far as the Milli Maker recap that I do each and every week, check it out on fantasyfootballfling.com. I never miss a week. Look for the trends. I can have it 4-minute read right in front of you. So real quick, it's easy. Check us out. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'll catch you next week, guys. Good luck.
Yep.
Rolling that dice. Hope we one of the 3 of us, if we're paying attention to these trends, it's going to happen.
Let's do it.
And pretty soon I'm going to be mass multi-entering the Milli Maker. So, I mean, it's only $3,000 a week. It's just no big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Find a sugar online and then it'll be taken care of.
I love it. Uh-oh.
Paul's gone.
He's out.
All right.
Well, all right, man.
We're out.
The good
We'll see you next week.
Out.